Hello, my name is Gary, and I am the Youth and Family Ministry Congregational Coach for the Southern Ohio Synod. I've been in my position since 2008, so it's already been quite a while since I joined this venture of being on the bishop's staff. My role is rather encompassing at this point, but to mention it briefly before we jump into our topic today, is that my role is to help you and your congregation to take the next step in children's, youth, and or family ministry, whatever that would be for your particular congregation. And I'm available to come on site at no direct cost to you. Everything that I do is funded through the mission support that congregations send in. The other thing that we do is basically all things youth and family ministry kind of intersect in my office, and I help to get them organized and help move them forward. So that's another part of what I do. And then a third thing, although there's about 12 more, but I'll mention that there's this wonderful task force called the Amazing Grace Day Camp Task Force, and I get the privilege of representing the bishop on that task force. And one of my roles with the task force is to help congregations to have their best practices safeguarding systems in place. And so that's our topic for today. And so I know many of our congregations have been doing Amazing Grace Day Camps for several years, and you may have your act together in this area. But I would encourage you to stick with this anyway. This is going to be a relatively brief presentation, and we want to make sure that we have everything in place for the upcoming summer. So, as a congregation that will be hosting an Amazing Grace Day Camp, a part of the Amazing Grace Day Camp Covenant is that your congregation will need to adopt some written best practices regarding the safeguarding of children and youth that your congregation will have, and you need to have these in place prior to the Amazing Grace Day Camp coming. There's kind of two parts to this. One part is what you need to do in order to host an Amazing Grace Day Camp for this coming summer for that specific week. There are some minimum things you need to do. However, the bishop and the synod and I, and certainly the bishop's insurance company and attorney, we would love for you to have a year-round best practices safeguarding system for your children and youth that's encompassing for ongoing and not just the week. So part of this presentation is just to give you the basics that you have to do in order to be prepared safeguarding-wise for your Amazing Grace Day Camp week this summer. But in addition to that, I'm available to help walk you through how to put a system together that's going to be in place year-round, so every year you won't have to be reinventing the wheel, and there'll be some kind of ongoing system. So with that in mind, let me just talk briefly about what you need to do in order to host an Amazing Grace Day Camp from the perspective of having a safeguarding system in place. One of them is that all volunteers who are in any way associated with a day camp need to complete and submit something that is called the Voluntary Disclosure Statement. This basically gives the congregation permission to run a background check on you, or at least to do some kind of web-based looking into a background check. So I kind of said that multiple ways, but you know what I mean. It's a disclosure statement that allows the church to make that inquiry. A second thing is that everyone needs to have that background check run. If you have an insurance company and you're up to speed with all of this, your insurance company may dictate where they want you to do background checks and whether or not they're online or whether or not they're in person, whether or not they involve fingerprinting and such. And so whenever we talk about this, I always say default to what your insurance company says. But to get through the Amazing Grace Day Camp week, you have to at least do a check through a source. We do have a free source that you can use. It is I'll actually just give you the website. It's the National Sex Offender Public Registry, and you can background check anybody for free. Background check's probably not the right term, but you can check out somebody for free at www.nsopr.gov. That's www.nsopr.gov. So, you're going to have to get folks to fill out the disclosure statement. You're going to have to visit a site of some sort and check out folks to make sure what their background is in related to safeguarding. And then the third thing is that you have to keep that voluntary disclosure statement that's signed, and you have to keep the printout of any kind of background check you run, and you have to put them together, and whether you put them in a folder or whatever, you have to keep those under lock and key somewhere in your congregation. And Lomo has told us that written evidence that these policies have been followed is to be kept in a secure file. I'm reading this directly. At each congregation until the youngest camper, are you ready for this, turns age 40. Yes, 40. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? But that's what the law asks us to do. So those are the basics of what you have to do for an Amazing Grace Day Camp week. Having said that, we would also like you to look at your overall system that you use year-round for safeguarding children and youth. And when doing that, and even with Amazing Grace Day Camp, it'd be good to identify one person who's going to be kind of in charge, kind of your safeguarding guru. And I'd really appreciate it if you would let me know who that person is. You can contact me at the Synod office at 614-464-3532, extension 4. That's 614-464-3532, extension 4. Or you can send me an email at G, the first letter of my first name, and then my last name, Pecuch, Pecuch, then you have to write it all out, southernohiosynod.org. So it's gpecuch at southernohiosynod.org. I'd like to know who your person is, even if it's just for the Amazing Grace Day Camp week, so I can just be in touch with them to make sure that this is going smoothly and everything's being followed through with, because this is a major thing. Otherwise, for the year-round system, if it's a different person, let me know who that person is, and then I can help them walk through some basics of what they're going to need to be doing in order to put your overall system in place. I have a PowerPoint presentation that we have online that they can look at. I have a whole host of templates and all kinds of things from all kinds of insurance companies that can make this really easy for you. I tell folks, don't go this alone. Let us help you put this system in place, because we can do this, help you with this, and make this kind of a simple, relatively simple. It's not simple, but we can make this a relatively pain-free process if you involve us here in the Synod office. But it's going to involve things like contacting your insurance company and getting their safeguarding kit. They probably have templates they would like you to adopt. They probably have documents they would like you to use. And in all cases, you always use what your insurance company or insurance agent recommends. And then you'll want to get your congregational attorney involved with this. And if you don't have one, you're going to have to ask the question, if we were to have a sexual misconduct situation today, what attorney would we call? And so, knowing that you don't have that situation today, this is the time to find out who that attorney might be for you. So you might need to do some investigation to find out who you would go to in case of a situation. And then what we'll do between your insurance company and between some state of Ohio Attorney General guidelines, actually not guidelines, legislation, we can help put this system, this document in place for you, and have your insurance agent look at it and approve it, and have your congregational attorney look at it and approve it, and you'll have everything in place. So without dragging this on any further, you know where I live. I am happy to come to your congregation and help you put this together. I'm happy to walk you through what you need to do for your Amazing Grace Day Camp. And in closing, I just want to say this is a very, very real issue. The insurance company that the Synod office uses tells me that they average, check this out, they average one sexual misconduct accusation in a church per day. Isn't that amazing? They have over 250 sexual misconduct accusations in churches per year. So this is a very, very real issue. That's just one insurance company in our country. So in closing, please understand that this is real, and we want to help walk you through this. And with that, it's been 10 minutes. I appreciate your time and sticking with this, and please connect with me. I'd be happy to help you with this. Thank you, and God bless.